Thank you. Thank you very much for coming to my lecture on this cold evening of December. Certain countries have established their national policies based on atheism or materialism. If this means they are focusing on developing the areas where they are lagging behind, then it is fine. But if they move toward believing that this world is all there is, then they are wrong. I'm not just talking about China. This also applies to Europe and the United States. In the US, there are people who go to church on Sundays, but do not think about the other world or religious values during working hours or on weekdays. They just focus on tasks in front of them to make money. Unfortunately, people's faith is diminishing worldwide. Materialistic wealth and financial gain have become their main concern, and such value is prevailing. This is very disappointing. This is a very small, yet first step. But if human beings believe that they are nothing more than their physical bodies, then that is a mistake. That's why education goes wrong. People will start seeking for education that will make their lives easy in this world. They will start seeking only for results that can be seen with their eyes. As a result, many people started to believe that success is to get things, such as higher status and a position people would admire, or land, buildings, and money. The same goes for philosophers. If you read the teachings of Socrates and Plato in classic or in modern language, it's obvious that they believed in spirits and souls, the other world, and even reincarnation. It's written clearly. They have experienced it, just as I do now. But now, after over 2,000 years, many philosophers have become like mathematicians and use formulas and notations to explain philosophy. But what they say doesn't make sense and isn't of any value. They are getting salaries for nothing. Their brains have become like machines. It's sad. Mathematics and physics are useful as practical subjects to make advanced vehicles, buildings, and also spacecraft to go into space. So people studying the humanities shouldn't deny them too much. It is good for useful fields to advance so it can promote usefulness. But you must not forget the most important thing that lies at the basis of these studies. I want to say this clearly. At least they should keep their mouths closed and refrain from evaluating things they do not specialize in or are unsure about. They should remain humble to be able to admit their own ignorance. There are things they will have to study once death approaches them. If the other world does not exist, and if the idea that humans are born into this world, and they return to the other world is a lie, it means that 2,900 or more books I have written are all lies. Now the US President Biden is increasing tension in the world by insisting that it is a battle between democratic countries and autocratic countries. He became president by dismissing Trump's policy as a dividing approach, and instead calling for cooperation and peace. But in reality, the division is accelerating, and it seems to me that a crisis of war is drawing near. At least the US has now made Russia their enemy, unlike during Mr. Trump's time. China is also their enemy. What's more, Iran is now their enemy too. The other Islamic countries will probably also follow suit. The Islamic countries will end up as their enemy. It will also affect the Southeast Asian countries as well. There are skirmishes occurring in several countries right now. I think all of this happened because of President Biden's lack of strategic outlook. On this earth, none of the systems are perfect, but we must continue to think about which direction is better. Democracy is good in that it can remove evil. Leaders who oppress or massacre the people can be voted out. This is a good point of democracy, but that alone does not make it the best. It cost about $200 million to run a US presidential election. That is just for an advertising campaign. Usually people don't have such amount of money. If there is anyone here who can spend that much money for advertising, please remain after the lecture. We may have something to ask you. Please hang around. You wouldn't want to spend $200 million on advertising to be the president just for 4 years. You can't spend that much money even in Japan. In China, if you assume an important political position, you can easily store up billions of money. They work together with companies too. So to tell the truth, if you look closely at every country, there are many parts that are shameful. What I want to say about the democratic system is that democracy without God is no good. As a child of God, people should always reflect on themselves and also participate in politics to create an ideal country. Such democracy is in good direction. So even in a religious nation, please check if what you are doing is truly leading your country in the right direction. I say to Iran, do not rush to make nuclear weapons. If you do, your destiny will be the same as Iraq. It's coming, so please stop. When Israel and Iran both have nuclear weapons, Israel is the one that will survive. Iran will disappear. So listen to my words and think twice. Westernize your nation. Democratize your nation. That is the way for you to survive. There are issues between religious and non-religious nations, but even religious nations can be destroyed by their people. So a country must manage itself in a way that will raise every citizen's value. I have a good understanding of Buddhism, Japanese Shinto, the religions of India, Christianity, and Judaism. I understand Islam as well, but Islamic fundamentalism must be changed. If you don't change it, you'll only fall into the wrong path. So change it. Change your future. This is the only way you can survive. Soon, an end will come to the age when fuel supply brings prosperity. So now is the time for each person to create jobs and choose the way to develop their country. I want to tell the same to the people in Africa too. Islam is spreading, but it is only spreading in poor countries. A very similar form to communism is spreading. But the true God is teaching you the way to prosper by dint of self-help. Do not take my words lightly. Thank you very much. I still have more to say. To all of you listening to my lecture in over 164 countries, please tell my words to your neighboring people. Humankind can still be saved. But if you do not listen to my words, the human population could be reduced to half. This can happen within 10 years, but I truly want to avoid that. So please believe in my words and follow me, and spread my words. Thank you very much.